though we have about 14 of us presently, but because of, for the sake of time, it's better we'll start, and I believe that many will join us during the course of the introduction to the program before the commencement of the lecture. So, inshallah, without much ado, I'm going to call on Ustaz Ismail Adibayo to give us the opening prayer within 2 minutes. Bismillah.
Now, Alhamdulillah, Bil Amin, we give thanks to Allah who has made tonight's session an easy one after we left with the last edition. We pray to Allah to benefit us with what we'll be listening to tonight. We also pray to Allah to make it easy for the lecturer and to benefit us so that our homes, our wards, our children will be impacted. And whatever challenges we are facing, and we are looking for ways to solve them. I pray to Allah that Allah should use this lecture to solve those challenges we have with our children. May He make our children righteous. May He make them vanguards of Islam. May He make them vanguards of Islam. May He make our nurturing in them impactful. May He make them impactful. May He not make them do what is different from what we do. The Islamic culture with desire they have, we pray to Allah to make it better in them than the one we have. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amen.
Jazakumullah khairan. Pray that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the prayer and make it beneficial to each and every one of us. Inshallah, I'm going to call on Malam Abdullah Sulaiman to give us the recitation from the glorious Quran within 3 minutes. Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد آتينا لقمان الحكمة أن اشكر لله ومن يشكر فإنما يشكر لنفسه ومن كفر فإن الله غني حميد وإذ قال لقمان لابنه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حملته أمه وهنا على وهن وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير فإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا واتبع سبيل من أناب إلي ثم إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون يا بني إنها إن تك مثقال حبة من خردل فتكن في صخرة أو في السماوات أو في الأرض يأت بها الله إن الله لطيف خبير يا بني أقم الصلاة وأمر بالمعروف وانهى عن المنكر واصبر على ما أصابك إن ذلك من عزم الأمور ولا تصعر خدك للناس ولا تمش في الأرض مرحا إن الله لا يحب كل مختال فخور فقصد في مشيك واغضض من صوتك إن أنكر الأصوات لصوت الحمير صدق الله.
صدق الله العظيم وبلغ رسول الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين. We give thanks to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has made it easy for our brother to give us that beautiful recitation. Pray that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it as an act of ibadah for him and for those of us that has listened to, and each and every one of us on the program. Without much ado, we are welcoming each and every one of us to this edition, to this monthly edition And we pray that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from us as an act of ibadah. But we have our mothers in the house. The first person I would like to recognize, we are all important, but because of time, we'll just quickly recognize two of our mothers. The first person is the mother of today's occasion in person of our elder sister, Dr. Aminat Akorede. Please kindly say Teslim to the house, ma.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's nice to join
Wa
you.
alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We're happy to have you with us. And the chairperson for today's occasion is no other person than our sisters in faith. That is Ajia Azizat Gidigbi. Please kindly say Teslim to the house, ma.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are also pleased to have you with us. Pray that may Allah reward each and every one of us that have joined us and those that will be joining us later. The next person I would like to introduce is our guest lecturer. Is a father to many of us, and he's also a mentor who nurtures souls to the path of goodness. We are happy to have him as our guest speaker for today's occasion, and he is the Chief Executive Officer for Vanguard Academy, and he's no other person than Dr. Zafaron Adeni. You are welcome, sir. Please say Teslim to the house, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So please, sir, you can go ahead with your lecture. Bismillah.
Oh, thank you. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa sallim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. All praise have always been due to none but Allah, who is the first without beginning and the last without end. As Muslims, we will ever be thankful to Allah for the gift He has given us, the gift of Iman, the gift of Islam, the gift of Quran, the gift of being the followers of Muhammad. That is why the Islam that we practice has never left any stone unturned with respect to all aspects of our lives. So the trust tonight is talking about parenting through bibliography. First and foremost, I want to appreciate the organizers for giving the opportunity to be on this space to share few things about this very discourse. I pray Allah in His infinite majesty will grant all of us abundant reward and magnify the positive impact of this talk in our various homes. The topic, parenting through bibliography. What's the objective for this topic? Basically, it's trying to say that parenting as a kind of subject matter could equally be done through bibliography. So basically, we are looking at two things: parenting on one side. True itself is a word that connotes a method, a process, a means. Then we have bibliography as the means that is used. So we are looking at the two, parenting and bibliography. So the objective, basically, we hope at the end of the day, we'll have been able to be reminded or to be enlightened with respect to how we can actually use the instrumentality of bibliography to help our homes and our children, because the context is about bibliography. Looking at bibliography as a word, it means using books, stories to, in the past, it was a form of healing strategy. So we're talking of using books, stories to heal those who suffer from mental illness, addiction, or emotional distress. By default, that was a context of bibliography. But today, as we go further, we'll see that the meaning has been expanded. That is the nature of a civilization. A word can mean one thing, even in English dictionary, you can see one word meaning a lot of things. So in the modern times, there have been expansion to the meaning of a bibliography to include using books and stories to teach, either in school, at homes, and many other settings. Going into history, with respect to bibliography, we read that it has been there since the Middle Ages, between the era of the Roman decline, fall, so that it has been there for over 500 years plus. But the term bibliography was coined in 28th century by Samuel Marshall Crothers. So just to give name to what has been practiced before then, they've been using books to treat people, to solve some problems. Now, from library science and management too, it has been used also to refer to a kind of house of healing. Library was seen as a kind of a place you come, you read the books, and it heals your mental problem or your psychological problem or your family problem. So that's why in library science too, there's a kind of an aspect they devote to talking of a bibliography. Then we read that in the past, the ancient hospitals had books, libraries, with them where their staff and patients read. Because they believe by reading books, patients could be healed. So in the books are, appropriate to treat such kind of patients too. And of course, as Muslims, in 2072 Cairo, it was established that patients were even asked read Quran to be healed, which of course, as Muslims, we know the Quran is Shifa'u lima fi sudur. So it's read to heal a lot of things. That one too is a message that we get as Muslims, that bibliography solve that very problem too. Now by expansion we now have two levels or two types of bibliography. We have therapeutic bibliography, which addresses mental health treatments. It's still used up to today. Some people, the books are used to treat them. And we have developmental bibliography, which of course is domesticated to classroom, teaching, education. That's why we have parenting coming on board too. Then over time, they've expanded the coverage of bibliography into social work, education, counseling, parenting, and many other aspects of life by expansion. And by expansion of not just books again now, we have poetry writing, movies, art, and many others, comics, now being used as bibliographic material or instruments. That's by way of short history into bibliography. I don't know whether Ami had still, just to confirm.
Yes, we are with you, sir. We are loud and clear, sir.
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. So now, what's the focus of bibliography? Who is it being done for? Is it for the parent or for the child? It's for both. But the child is the focus here because it's not parenting. Because parenting here, the books, the stories, parents need it, children need it. So a child, in the context of Islam, what does it say? We have a child as gift. The Quran says that Allah says that by that, the word gift is used for a child in the Quran. A child is equally a trial. Allah says, Innama amwalukum wa auladukum fitna. Your children, your wealth are trials. So it's used as gift trials too. And also, we have it in Surah Al-Kahf. We are like what this is again that alimalu walibanuna zinatul hayati dunya. The wealth, resources, children are kind of adornment for us. That one too is clear in that very context. Beside that, again, according to the last two verses of Asaf, Allah says that we have given trust to the mountain, to the heavens, to the earth, and they did not accept it. So children become trust on those who have them. So we can see that children are gifts, trials, and adornment. So for one to enjoy the gift of children, of having a child, or the being an adornment for somebody, one has to make a lot of effort. And that effort we are talking of using bibliographical methods to train the children. Now, children, as we know, they are complex, they are very complex. They are very complex. Don't just ordinary, they're not robots. They're not like robots, that you can just control with a single button. They are, when this environment they are exposed to determine the kind of things they will become in life. Now, that is about the child. Now, talking about parenting, by definition, it could be from three angles, either biological, you give birth to a child, that's biological. You have 3 children, you have 4 children, you have more than that. The institutional, whereby you train a child in a school as a lecturer, as a teacher, as a tutor, as a guide, as whatever. So that kind of child has passed through a kind of parenting. And the third one, of course, again, is the social or societal, where there's communal, approach to parenting. Then every child belongs to a home, belongs to everybody. Because if one child is bad, the consequence will not affect him alone, but everybody. That's just a definition of parenting in brief. Then the duty of parenting or parents basically are 2. 1, you welcome the child to life, the names of the child, things like that will require Islamic ethics. Then nurturing, training the child, oral education, approval, disapprovals, what he has to do, what he must avoid. All these ones are the duty in parenting. We mentioned here that all-round education. So bibliography comes in here as a means of training the child. The parenting has coverage. It covers physical development of the child, spiritual, emotional, social, environmental, and intellectual development of a child from infancy to adulthood. So here we see that child intellectual development, parenting has a lot of role to play. And the role is so serious that in Quran 66 verse 6, Allah says, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara." Allah says, "Oh, you believe, protect guide your soul from hell and those of your family." So in this case, Allah is warning us that when we have children, is a serious thing that we should be careful not to end up in hell by not properly caring for them. Now, in the Sharia of Islam, there's clear, specific rule designation for children. One is al-qawwam al-usra, that the man is in charge of the family. The al-infaq al-usra is spending on the family. These 2 roles belong to man. The last 2 are done to atofali wa tarbiyatihim, training children, is that of the mother. Then tadbiru shu'un al-bayt, managing home affairs, is for the woman. This is contained in the book called Tahrir al-Mar'a fi Asr al-Risala, page 99 to 133. We have it there. Then also, Professor Cyril George, buttressing the last 2 points I mentioned with regards to the role of women when it comes to children, training, nurturing, development. Professor Cyril George, in Variety, December 1952, says that I believe the world will be a happier place if women were content to look after their homes and their children, even if some slight lowering of the standards of living were involved thereby. That was an American psychologist talking about the role of women when it comes to children or training. So today, what happens to parenting? We have different attitudes. We have those who are deliberate, intentional, that I must learn how to bring up my child. We have them. We have those who just train their children accidentally. They do just the first child by accident, just keep on, like test run of their children training. They don't go for any training. They don't get themselves, they don't read books. And of course, some are indifferent to whatever happens to their children. And this makes the children to become endangered, estranged, entangled, and encircled. The world they live today is not making it easy for them in any way. So today, children face a reality. And that reality makes bibliography one of the major instruments, strategy to rescue, to salvage our children from perdition. No village life again. You can see today, if somebody is even abroad, it makes it more serious. Some of us enjoy village life with our grandma, with our community life, communal existence. We enjoy the natural environment. We enjoy going to the river. All those things where they make use of a lot of innocence. So that village life, to the children enjoy it again. And yet again, some don't have time to make them learn through reading too. Parents are in absentia. Some are abroad, children and in their local country. So, it depends. And these days, it's getting reversed. In some cases too, children that parents have trained are leaving the parents and going abroad now. They will stay there for 20 years, for 30 years. Their parents. So this is the kind of lifestyle that we're living to. It's a reality. And such people now, we have children over there. How do they manage it? We have unrestricted exposure. These children have different kind of exposure to the social media and everything. Is it sorry? It's a challenge. Then these days, students, they sleep less. They sleep less because of TV and internet, films. They don't have time to sleep again. They look more immature, and of course, many other things happening to them today. This is a challenge you have about that time that they have faced, and that's consequences in different ways. One of them, they suffer language deficits. They become addicted to film, addicted to sports, to many things, to fashion, and many others. That is making the task of parenting more difficult. And what happened? Parents are busy pursuing the world, running after the world, in a world that children are no more analog. They are no more analog. Even the Gen Z now is fast going. Alpha is coming, and we can't tell how it's going to be like. So this challenge is making it more serious that there's need to go the way of bibliography and identifying children's problems. Professor Bukar, in one of his books, tried to explain that there are 10 basic problems of children: lying, low, steady motivation, hyperactivity, ADHD, the children's quarrel, inferiority complex, aggressiveness, obstinate child, selfishness, and bedwetting. There are many more, but this basically, looking at this very one, bibliography can help to solve the problems of lying, low study motivation, hyperactivity. Yes, it can solve that one. A children, most of them think they are hyperactive. A children has to be a bit active. So you can solve the problem by engaging the child with a level of maybe comic books that are comic, for example. Now, just get very they can give me a kind of attract their attention. Buy such a book. Let the child reads it. When the child reads it, not very long pages. Then at mealtime, you can just ask that book you read, what was the funny thing in the book? He'd be happy to tell you the story, what was inside. Buy another one for the child. He reads again. You're now seeing like a hero. For that story you tell was very, very fantastic. You laugh around it. Before you know, you are engaging the child meaningfully to start reading. Before you know, you start becoming more serious. Children's quarrel, you can engage and other points that were mentioned, but we can solve that very problem. Bibliography basically has to do with books and storytelling and some other ways of teaching the child. Now, when you talk of books for the child, books that tell stories, they tell different stories. So what do they actually teach the child? When you know what they teach the child, you now see reason why you have to be, concerned about getting books to become your child's companion. The first thing book does when the stories are read is that it teaches moral values. Books will teach them. They will read on their own, and after you read to them, it depends on the level of the child, whether it's a toddler, is a whatever, age 7, 8, age 10 up. So you read the stories and they become empathetic. It teaches them empathy, teaches them honesty. They will read the stories from the book, and that, of course, will have achieved a lot of things in their life. Then books, good story books, introduce new ideas, people, places, events, their aspirations. I want to become like Umar. I want to become like Ali. So all these things, if you have good books for them, they have read it, you start to make them form their own future plans, what they want to become. If you read a book about a pilot, you start talking about want to become a pilot, even though you're surprised in your house, they can convert something to flying objects, and before you know, you have to pay extra to repair such things. Then to promote creative thinking, when they read, it makes them to be in the mood of the writer, in the mood of the actor in the book. So they want to start thinking of, if I were in their shoe, or if you are the one engaging them, you ask them, if you were you, what do you think you would have done? So it's a creative thinking for them. Then to enhance language development, there's no way they will read and they will not be able to build their vocabularies and be able to express themselves clearly. They will be good in debates and the like. Then when you introduce to them storybooks too, it enhance, it makes them to love reading, and reading will assist them in their academics. Then to build emotional intelligence, they learn by fun and enjoy the moment throughout their lifetime. So that is some of the things that storybooks can do to your child. You can now see that you need to just be ready to go the way of bibliography, using books, using comics, using stories to train and teach your child. Now, how do you make choice of books to teach your child? You have to know some principles. Number one, yes, they have to read, but not that you stockpile your own library and just have the child go there, go and pick one. No, that's not the way to go. Not our choice, but his or hers. You don't force what the child has to read on the child. You can only guide. And more so, the books in your shelf maybe not be in tune with them. So you need to know the taste, what they will like. That's how you start, because you need to build the culture, the passion to read. Is a thing you have to build. It's not something easy in a child. And when it's wrongly started, it affects them throughout their life. So some of the tips you need to note is what the books you get for them, the choice must relate with it. It must be easy to relate with. When they pick the book, they will like the book, they will like the illustration, they will enjoy the topic, they enjoy the content. They want to just rush and finish everything. That is one thing there. They must address important things that is important to them. If it's sports, if it's anything they like, the book must be relevant to the child's yearning. Not too difficult to read too. When you want to buy a book for the children, you watch out the language of the author. They must have strong illustrations, because at that stage of the children, if between age 10 and thereabout, they need books that have, even adults too. If somebody did something, he has 3 books, same books. You took them to a book fair, same book, different illustrations, different color makeup. So the one that sold most was the one with higher, that has a multiple color, and it makes more money from that than the other ones who were like the first book too. So you need then books that are full of fun that could be read aloud. Now, in the case you have babies and toddlers, yes, even the pregnant, a woman in Canada, there's a park in Canada that she was found reading book, and she was pregnant. She was reading book. People ask her, "Who are you reading to?" Reading to my baby. So the research has been there that baby hears sounds. So now, babies and toddlers, you have to read to them too, and read repetition of sounds and words. You see children, they pick sounds, so it has to be repeated, not too long, just 1 or 2 sounds, 2 letter sound, just like that. You just say it. That will be rhythmic. They need it. It's a way to guide their thinking faculty. There must be simple language, must illustrate the primary objects and features in their life. Should be able to point some things, this spoon, this in the book like that. Then should be like nursery rhymes, simple and familiar. So when you talk about books for babies, need books, they can just place their hand on it, they can play with it, they can close it, they can throw it down, they can see at their property. So that will build in them. So they can't read it at a stage. A baby cannot read a book, but it has effect on the baby. Just my book, this is my book, my book, go and bring your book. So it's getting to book concept. But between age 2 and 6, the book should reflect daily happenings in the child's life. What are familiar to the child is necessary, like playing with friends, like playing with friends, visiting family, and going to sleep. So the book should have what is not distant from the child that he can relate with. Then encourage playing with words and phrases. When you read the book, some words will be repeated. The way they are coined and cast, it will make the child to love the reading, like rhymes at times. They should be simple, should be repetitive, that meaning to read aloud. At a point, a child has to read aloud. Reading aloud has its own impact in a child's life. The method of reading is that at a stage, you read aloud to them. And that method is that they have to read aloud too. You have to read aloud also. Now, the first, you start with them reading aloud. When they read aloud, is developing their thinking faculty, is engaging them, is going for their interest. When as their age improves, then you change gradually to reading silently for more serious reading. Both have their own impact in a child development. So for age 2 to 6, you encourage playing with words and phrases, simple. Then the attention span, should not stretch their attention much, not too windy, long books that they have to read and read. Just very small, one page or 1.5 page or half a page. Then the question exercises, what they can enjoy that they don't need a long, windy, something like that, but poetic too. That's for age 2, age 2 to 2 to 6. But age 5 to 8, for example, now the language recurrence to reinforce reading skills. The language must be, repetitive. Some words should be coming and coming. It aids their concentration and attention too. Must appeal to their interests. Language must be appropriate to their level. Then also simple and clear. Varying reading material. Don't just give them one subject matter alone. It should be changing the topics and like that. So the interest, in this case, when they are between 5 and 8, child interest becomes the leader. In the case before age 5, you determine what you choose. Age 5 to 8, let them decide what they want and you guide them. For age 7 to 10, at this level, they need a diverse mix of fictions, readings that will make them to explore, not just one topic. It should be diverse. Then should be not too long, short. Have episodic chapters, episodes that they can move from one scene to the other, have illustrations and the like. Then books should be that are part of series, and unlike that, if you love sport, it should be about sport and so on and so forth. As for age 10 up, it should address events, experiences, wide range of subjects, and at a deep emotional level. Because at this level now, they are now inquisitive. They want to know more and more and more. On a general note, bibliography as a strategy to train children. You have to know that, number one, the books you get for the children must improve them. That is one basic element, and they must enjoy it. So those two things are important. When you talk of bibliography and using books in this context now, the story, the book must improve the child, must make them, give them pleasure, so that they want to relate. They want to tell their friends what they have read. They want to tell you what they have read. They want to tell the stories to their friend. So when, instead of making noise or being loquacious, they want to just be telling things they have read. It's important to know that one in bibliographical journey. Second is, must be smooth and palatable style. So the book they want to read to, not just rough book that they will never be interested to even open in the first instance. How much to talk of reading it? So the book must be, style of writing must be appealing. Not just some authors who write books that you won't feel like even going further. So the book must appeal to that. They want to fall in love with it and they want to read it on. Then the book must have a kind of excitement and suspense. So not just book that just start and conclude. You should raise their curiosity that, okay, what's going to happen next? What will happen next? What will happen next? Such a book is what you have to know the truth for children. Then you have to be careful of scary stories. Don't say because you want to say just say you should read books. That's how buying books. No, you must avoid books that talk about demons, about criminals, because it can scare the child that you won't want to read again. So that's when you have to. That stage is a stage that their nature is very soft. You don't have to frighten them with things like that. Books that talk about criminal things, you have to be careful of that. Then avoid those with expression against Tawheed. Yes, you have to read books. You have to be selective. You buy books that is against Tawheed, speaking against, using some words that are against Islam. So it can damage them. So you have to avoid them using books that has some names that are against the spirit of Islam. So when you are talking about books for their children, you have to be careful. That means such a book must have read it first, because that's one basis you have to note about that. Then equally, early reading is important for your child because it has deepest impact into the future, and it will equally affect their personality as they grow. So it's very important. It has been established that families who make their children learn how to read at early stage, they influence them for better. Most academic problem in school is due to the failure of family to build children to have reading culture. So you must choose the story that to implant akida in your child, love of Allah, His Rasul, and Sahaba. Those are the things you have to note when choosing a book for your child. Going further on reading stories and books for your child, it must address important Islamic fundamentals. Alhamdulillah, today we have many story books of Islam that are all over the place. Maybe not maybe one compilation, but there are many books that people today they can get for their children, and they are in series talking about the companion, about the tabi, and the like. Then the books must teach some level of manners. It may not be a Muslim author per se, but at least some books will be written that you see that this one my child can benefit, because there's the danger of just buying any book for a child and it can damage their kid. Then books must teach moral, courage, more about the Sirah, And one thing is this: when we're talking about bibliography, don't just focus that the child must read. That's a mistake. The point is that, do they see you read also? You as a parent, do they see you read? You don't read, they don't see you read Monday, throughout the week, throughout the month, you don't carry books, then you are sending the wrong signal to the children. They won't value books in that very house. Are you a reading family? Yes. Does the father read? Does the mother read? You read together and things like that at that stage. Then you have home library, not museum. You have a library whereby it could be accessed at any time, not museum that they lock up. That you have to note. Another methods to make them love book is that you make book to be distributed in the house, must be everywhere. In the room, there's a place they will see book there. They will see book almost everywhere in the house. That will make them to see that books is very important. It's a method too. Then you must have budget for books. Which book are you buying? Not just the whole money on food alone. Then you must have a reading point in the house, because distractions can affect reading. So you must have a small space in the house. Okay, this space for reading, make it very clean, very neat, very arranged, everything that they will enjoy reading there. That is about that. Now, what are the methods to use to encourage children to read? The first point is commitment. You as parents, are you committed to reading? Are you ready to make them read? Your own readiness is very important to move on. Then you have to use many methods to do that. Make it participatory. If it's the young children, carry on your lap, you can read aloud to them. Stories, they may not be able to read on their own. So the man was going on the road. The man was going on the road. Then when you are reading to the child, you change your voice pitch, not just one way alone. You have to use as if you are be dramatic, like a comedian, in a comic way. The man was going down. You make the voice voluminous, you make it thin, so that the child will be picking. The child will be laughing and be amusing him. Reading to the child, not just a matter of just reading normally like you're reading for the adults. No, you read and create scene out of reading. By the way you read it, for example, now, as the man was coming, he saw another man on the road. When the man was coming, he saw the man on the road and now said, "Oh, Mr. Man." So the voice will be rise and fall like that. It's arouses their curiosity. Then at times where a child cannot even read, you have the child to place hand on the pictures in the book. Touch this picture, place hand on it. You try to create a scene, you play with it, you laugh on the picture, like that. Then also, the child must be in a ready mood to read. In the case your child can read, don't just force them to read. You always force them to read to make them hate reading. Then bedtime story, you know why? Bedtime story is important that the day everybody has been busy, everybody has gone to children have gone to school, you have gone to work, you have come back. It has to be intentional about, to achieve this. You come back. There have been some level of you and your child, there are issues, but when they want to sleep, there's a book you have to read to them, you read together, they gather around you, and it will engage their time, because this television is not good for children at different levels. If you have TV in your house, for example, now, for children below 10, they should not spend more than 1 hour on TV. Then even games too, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, okay. That's all. They should not be used to TV. It's meant for those who are adults. Every adult has lesser time to spend on that one too, because TV give wrong signal for them. They do need books. So when you don't make it a habit to watch TV in your houses, fine. So you read aloud to the children. When you read aloud, it aids mental activity. It allows proactive thinking, when you have the children like that. So don't compel them to read, to become an habit. So, and of course, we have to move the direction of books as gifts. So we have to build the habit of giving them as gifts. You can wrap it and give them to celebrate them and things like that. So reading has to become a routine to the child, so that it will become a gratifying experience. That, okay, I have to read this. That's what you always be, ready to read more and more and more. Good books tell the story. When you tell the good stories, it amuses them, it bonds, things like that. It does to the child. Now, using of stories for the child now, the environment is important. Stories that talk about the environment, that will teach them about the environment. For example, a child who has not seen spider before can start screaming when you say spider. We have bought a book that talk about spider, Mr. Spider. Mr. Spider went to visit a brother. But spider can go visit somebody in his house. Yeah, spider is not an enemy. They are not dangerous. You know, okay, because you may not be at home. One single spider can cause accident because you have saw spider before. You may want to escape and run and start screaming, nobody at home. So you have to learn to teach them about the story book. They must talk about the environment that they have been used to. Okay, this gecko, this lizard, this word, this that. It will be strange to them. So because they have seen it in their books, then must teach values, ideals. They must teach them logical thinking. Stories teach them logical thinking. How? Look at the story of man and lion cub. Lion cub, a man ran to a lion cub and man was afraid. Lion was about killing the man. Just, okay, now, what's your name? The man said, I'm a human being. Good. My mom, that was my baby lion now, saying that, okay, my mom said that there was a person called man, that we lions, we are the king of jungles. Nobody can defeat us. But there's one person, that his name is man, and that man alone. Be careful of man. You're telling the child that story. So, and one day when Nak called him out, yes, good. Now, oh, you are man. My mommy said you have something that makes you to overcome and defeat us. Man said, yes. That thing, I forgot it at home, it's in the house. So I need to go and get it for you if you actually want to see it, Your Excellency. The lion now said, yes, go and bring it. The man now said, but how am I sure when I come back, you still be here, you wait for me? I will not just make effort to go and you not be here again. I can't just waste time and go and you not be here. The man said, no, I'll wait, I will not go, I promise. The man said, no, I can't just go like that unless we have a deal. I will tie you down to a tree, but I tie you down so that I'll be sure you not go away. Lion just accepted that, okay, I'll agree so that you can go and bring down your power. So the man tied the lion to the tree and started hitting the man with a plank on his head or to weaken the lion. And I said, that is my brain. I brought it to you. So, the story now, you add the child, what are the lessons from this story? It's not easy they should identify the story. It allows them for logical thinking. Okay, they can say, okay, for example, now, the man will use his brain to overcome, to save himself. Lion too could have numbered himself since he has been warned that there's a man called like that. Man, be careful of man. No, it was a warning from the mother, and he did not follow the warning. So things like that, she don't identify the lesson from the story. Then also stories allow for social awareness. You can take the story of eraser and pencil, for example. Now, yeah, Mr. Pencil, eraser, greets pencil. Mr. Pencil, how are you? Hi. Pencil, don't greet me. We are friends. Pencil say we are not friends. How could I be your friend? Everything I write, you always clean it, everything I write. Here's how you say, no, I only clean your mistakes. Which mistake are you cleaning? and now discover, okay, because why should you look at what I've written? When I clean your mistakes, you now have a better thing to write. Okay, but I observe you always get reduced. Why is it so? It's because of you. I have to be sacrificed for you to make sure that the bad things you have done, I clean it for you. Okay, they now become friends. So when you tell social awareness stories, children will see themselves as not the most important people. They see other people as important. So you have to teach them from home. It's bibliographical approach through stories too. They will have learned that they're not the most, they will humble themselves. Everybody's important. These are things that they can teach from books. Now for age bracket reading, for students around age 3, if you are reading to them, don't read more than 3 minutes. That's their attention span. For children between age 5, it's just 5 minutes reading. You stop. Then for age 11 and above, 75 minutes. So that one too, you have to know that very well. However, prayer is key in whatever we are doing for children. Any effort you are making, our effort alone can't give us the result. We need Allah. Every effort you are making on parenting, you need prayers too. You have to invest time, you have to invest brain. And for parents now, yes, children must read. Agree, they must read. All of you too. As they are reading, you too must not relent. So you have to read also. You too may have your mental issues, you have your stress, anxiety. There are books you have to read to make you stable. When you are not a stable mom, a stable dad, you can have a stable mom, you can have a stable home. So books like Enjoy Your Life, Don't Be Sad, and many more like that, they are books that you quality have to read. When you read them, it's helps to heal, because it will heal your own. Books are healers. So you have to heal your own problem too, so you can face your main task of teaching the children. With that one said, my dear brothers and sisters in the Dean, we have to see bibliography as a project that can help us to actually teach our children, train our children to be on the path of their Lord. The world today, as you have seen, is corrupt, is bad. But the home is like empty. Yes, because the parents are not at home. They have gone to work. Number 2, the parents are not at home, but television, all the gadgets, PlayStations, everything, they are available. So they now become the locals' parents. So it's a difficult thing in the modern time to train a child. So you need to get book today to open a world in the life of your child. And when you open the book, you read together. You read to the child, he reads to you. You buy books, and things like that are things you have to do. And for further reading, there's a book by the 3 authors, Isham Atolib, Abdulhamid Abu Sulaiman, and Umar Atolib, over 453 pages. So it's titled Child-Parent Relations, A Guide to Raising Children. These details are in that very one too. Another further reading reference is Child Education in Islam by Abdul Nasir Ulwani, about 400 pages. In that one, you have social education, psychological education, physical and things like that. Children perversion, they are discussed in the book. The third reference for further reading is Home Trajectory, Child Upbringing, Family Interaction, the Adolescent Children's Problems and a Child Read by Professor Dr. Abdulkarim Pakar. This very one is about 5 or 6 series, of each one and 98 pages or thereabouts, where it teaches, one of the series is basically a child reads. It's a book, one of the series by Professor Abdulkarim Pakar. So this one, I think, will go a long way to, if we can get learn on that very copy, is very rich. A lot of things we can gain to help us in bibliographical handling of our children. The other reference you can go to is Nurturing Iman in Children, that Dr. Aisha Hamdan, assistant professor of behavioral sciences in the College of Medicine, University of Sharjah, PhD in clinical psychology, connecting the children to Iman and things like that in the book. That one too is that can help us to be the children. So, my dear brothers and sisters in the Dean, we can realize that the world today is not friendly, but we can make our world friendly when we go in the way of getting the right book to connect our children to their Lord, to get our children to be morally conscious in a world that every child is holding Android phone. The earlier we began to make sure that our children are used to books, not screens, even hard copy books, not just ebooks. The earlier for us, it will reset their thinking and will be able to restore their moral consciousness. I pray to Allah in His infinite mercy to forgive the speakers and the listeners. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan. We pray that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly for this wonderful presentation. It has been an eye-opener, and because of time, we want to quickly give room for comment from our mother of today or the chairperson in case they want to make any comments. In case they want to make any comments, please, before questions, I want to quickly give like 1 minute to the two of them in case they want to make any comments. Dr. Amina, any comments?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, I want to use the opportunity to thank the lecturer. Very, very insightful and much needed topic at this time. In this age of screen, it's really a very pertinent topic. I pray that Allah makes it easy for us to be able to use all the lessons that we have learned therein going forward. Ameen. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan. Hajia Aziza Gidigbi, any comments?
Assalamu alaikum. Well, for me, I think a take home that we should hold very important was one of the last things he said, the issue of, are you reading as a parent? Do your children see you read? And we may give excuse of, I read on my laptop, I do online reading books. So we should be intentional about us reading so that it will not look as if we're just forcing them to read and we're not replicating, we're not showing them that example. Then we should invest in buying books. Investing in buying books, intentional and investing in it. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah provide for us, because it is very, very important that we budget for books this time around. So not only for food, just as the lecturer have said. May Allah make it easy for us in this present situation. I've seen Ustaz Ismail raising up his hand. So in case you have questions now for our lecturer, please kindly indicate so that I can call us one after the other. Questions. So Malam Ismail, please, you can go ahead with your question. And if it's a comment, you can please go ahead too. Okay. Malam Ismail Adebayo, I think you're raising up your hand before.
I'm sorry, so that was an error. That was an error. That was an error, sir.
Okay.
That was an error.
Okay, so you can bring out the hand. Sir, I have a question. When you were delivering the lecture, you made mention of getting a particular section of the house for like a small library for us to read. But practically, sir, I want you to give us an advice, being that if you look at most of our houses, they are either a bedroom or two-bedroom flats, and where we have the mother and the father sharing a room and the other room for the children. How do we manage these little resources? Because the situation of the country now, houses are expensive. So most of us do not have a very big house that we can actually have a place to carve out as a library where we can read to increase their concentration. So how do we do this practically, sir? That's my question.
Jazakumullah khair. May Allah assist us. I think the first one is that it's a challenge of the modern time too, that most things we do are like we have no options where we find ourselves. But as regards the question, for those that have idea of even building their houses, whatever now, they must think of creating the concept should be there from the architectural design, space for reading, library. And even though don't have library at times, the library is not even different from other things, maybe store whatever at times too. So, but this idea that the author, I read this in the idea of the author of Professor Bukar in that idea of Child Reads is that you just need to create a symbolic place. Okay, even if it's just one room, you can just have a poster or something you just put on the wall, reading place. I have something like a small shelf you put there, so that once in a while the family can just sit down there. Maybe if you don't have it's not a place you can have chairs or tables. You can just there's on the sign man that you can just sit down together, you can round to maybe 3 or 4 of you reading time. Just when it's reading time, just create that very sense of we are in a reading, we're in a library now. You can just put some posters on the wall and make it beautiful. Just a symbolic something you can do in the interim in the case that the space is not just available. So Allah.
Exactly, that has actually solved the problem. So then another question comes from one of our participants. He said that how good do we encourage cartoons, Coco Melon for our children?
See, the parents has a lot to do. Parenting is tasking. Children are complex. Parenting is tasking. So complexity of the children and the parents not available can be an issue. So anything children want to read, the parent must have know is good for the child. These days, cartoon is dangerous unless the one you are so sure of. For example, on cartoons now, all those people who have sexual deviations, they have their own cartoons. Children just want to see the fun, how the bird is flying to the sky, is jumping up and down. So that's what they're after. But you must look beyond that. They are kidder on the cartoon. So anything they want to watch, must have watched it first. Whatever. The main thing is that the parent too must have the requisite knowledge that this thing is it good for my child. Because some things can be good, but may not be age appropriate. That's another thing. A book at times is good, but if a child, take for example, there was a case of a child that, the parents have a book in their library. This every woman, the child reads the book at an early age, maybe in a junior secondary school, and that was cause spoiling for her because the parents just left the book in their library. The child just finished the book and she going through the book. Some aspects of the book affected the girl. So I think the point there is that the parents must screen whatever the child wants to read. Then, two, the age of the child is very important. That okay, does it worth it that it is this thing now? So allow them.
Malam Abdulkarim Adinekon, I think that will be the last question for today. Okay. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you for giving me that opportunity. I also thank our lecturer. Now, my question is I want to ask, because during the course of the lecture, I had the lecturer made mention of the word Gen Z. So I want the lecturer to please give us a brief elaboration on that word, because I attended a lecture where that thing was really treated to say that it's a real topic on its own. So just a little elaboration on that word, Gen Z.
As you have mentioned rightly, the fact that as what is going, people are studying psychology of the movement of the world. So what they are just simply doing is to keep on giving terminologies and things are going on. But the basic thing is that the children who are just now, they should be around age 19, 20 or thereabout now, 22, But the alpha is out again now. Those between below age 10, 9, they are the alpha. There are some age range they put for them. But the basic thing we have to note is that for the Gen Z, they are tech savvy. They are the one at the center of technology today. So you see them, they are going to Android, into everything, mobile phone, everything, smartphone, everything. That's what surrounds their life. It's a life of screen. Everything is that's what their life surrounds. So that every other thing they can forgo it. They may not eat, but that's screen. So every other thing they do surround the screen. That's what makes them to be so special, like an agency. So that's why in that respect. But for those coming after the alpha, who are younger than them, I don't know what they're going to become, because the danger is that The Gen Z now, who are the teenagers above 20 or 22 and above now, we can see what is happening to them. So I think as parents, the basic thing there is that technology is more harm than good. And that's where we have got it wrong, that we're not looking at that very angle. Just some parents just feel that because I'm rich, just get for my child, and they are lost. You don't monitor what you don't control it, just buy for them. And this is what the Gen Z is doing. The Gen Z, they carry the mobile phone in their hands. As they are walking, they are checking their mail, they are checking, they are watching a film, and they are back at the back. They have there a laptop. So when the phone they are carrying, the battery is flat, they bring the bag, they all of them carry bag these days. In our school, we don't carry bag like that. Just catch for portfolio, even like that, we carry to school. But now, everybody's backing baby, and they're really unreal now. So that's what they do. When the going is not good, they just get down anywhere they can just say at any corner and you can see the effect is calling for them in sexting, in movies and the like, and they are, Snapchats, all these things are happening to them. So I think that the summary I can just give about the generation of those above between 19 up like that, around 20 something. So yeah, that's save us.
Jazakumullah khairan, sir. Sorry, sir. We have one last hand from our sister Kafayat Hassan. Please go ahead.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sir, how do we order for some of your books, sir? Jazakumullah khairan.
It depends. It depends on where somebody is. If you make requests, if you're ever abroad anywhere, we have always sent books to Canada, to UK, to US, to Australia. So just make arrangements. We arrange maybe somebody coming down through the Korea, whatever now. So it depends. So that's how I've always done it for now. Or through the airport, all these Korea, what do you call them? These services there. So we can make arrangements for that. Allah.
Okay, sir, please can you share your phone number, your email with the organizer so that they can send it to us on our platform so that people who want to communicate with you, because I saw another person asking that he or she ordered for one of your book and he has not been able to get the book. So maybe from there you can, there will be a link and a contact, sir.
No problem. I'll do that, inshallah.
Your phone number and your email. Oh, Jazakumullah khairan. So thank you so much. Jazakumullah khairan. We pray that may Allah reward you abundantly for this beautiful presentation that has actually opened our eyes to a lot of things. We pray that may it benefit each and every one of us and our children and make them a better vanguard of Islam, inshallah. So the next thing now is for us to quickly give us an information concerning our next program. We are going to be having a general meeting of legacy on this 15th of December, inshallah. So please, we want all members to be with us so that we can discuss things that are affecting the legacy forum so that we can make these activities and other ones that we are doing a better one for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So inshallah, I'm going to call my co-MC in person of Malam Maruf Adid Niran to give the vote of thanks in 2 minutes. Bismillah. Malam Maruf. Malam Maruf.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. I'm not sure Maruf is on the call right now. So, okay, I'll do that in this place. So we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making today's event a successful one. We equally thank our lecturer, our teacher, for finding time to come and have this great lecture for us this night. We thank him for the well-researched lecture and the insight he has shared. Pray that Almighty Allah should continue to provide for him and elongate his life so that we can benefit more from him. We also thank our audience too for always being with us whenever we had our lectures like that. They're always very available. We thank them. So I found some people that asked. So inshallah, we have recorded the lecture. So and the lecture also had a slide too. So we are going to share from the same way you get access to this lecture, so you're going to share the slide and the lecture materials, so you can also have it too. You say Jazakumullah khairan to everybody.
So with this, we'll come to the end of today's this month's program, and we'll pray that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from each and every one of us. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wassalamu ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Jazakumullahu khairan jazaa. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خيرا.